All right, well, welcome back, and thank you so much indeed for staying with us as we continue to tell your story here on the SABC News channel. Now, yesterday, the nation observed the National Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Day, the day that is aimed to reinforce messages about the risk of drinking alcohol during pregnancy and really to encourage early prevention of fetal alcohol syndrome. Research suggests that South Africa has the highest prevalence of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which is your FASD, in the world, which is more than 14 times the global average. Now, the Foundation for Alcohol-Related Research, FARR, researches on information on fetal alcohol spectrum disorders and the most severe form of this disorder that is called the Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, your FAS, in South Africa. Jacoo Louw from the organization joins us via Skype, and we are also joined by the Department of Social Development Deputy Minister Hendrietta Bogopane Zulu. Good afternoon to both of you. Thank you so much for coming through. And Jacoo, let's start with you first. Just, give us an understanding, or rather the difference between FAS and FASD.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. There is a range of issues that can happen to a child when they are exposed to alcohol in the womb. So we refer to everything that can happen as part of the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder. So it's kind of like an umbrella term to explain all the different things that can go wrong. While FAS, or Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, we refer to that when all of the signs and symptoms are present. So it's the most severe form of FASD.
All right. Just before we come to the work that your organization does, let's just bring the DM here into this discussion. DM, before we talk about the programs that the government has, firstly, your reports over the weekend that you want to see all pregnant women who take alcohol during their pregnancy jailed and arrested. How true are the reports, and how do you think that will be done?
I like the question because we always get to the end before we get to the actual discussion. I don't think it's correct for somebody to say, Hendrietta said, we did a 9-day outreach, and it is clear, as Jacoo has said, communities are frustrated. And when communities are requesting a policy shift, and they are saying, government, what are the options that we have? So you can't jail every pregnant woman, because the only way you're going to find out whether this woman used alcohol is after they've delivered a child with either FAS or FASD. So it would not be something that you happen to do, but there is somewhere where we need to get, because as a country, we can't continue to be the leaders in all the wrong things. And we can't want to continue to do the same things and expect different results. Something must happen that says it is not okay for us to actually continue to have FAS or FASD children when this matter is 100% preventable. Yeah. It requires a serious behavioral change. And what is, unfortunately, from women, because they are the givers of life.
Let me just come in there, Deputy Minister. What is that something that is still missing? I mean, why are we still sitting at these high numbers of pregnant women who are still drinking, knowing very well? I mean, everyone knows that taking alcohol while pregnant has consequences, but why do we still see such numbers?
I've learned, Palisa, that actually that's an assumption that every woman knows. We've spoken to women from Saldanha Bay to Kwanongoma to Taung to, we assume women know. That's the first mistake we know. Yes, they know to an extent, but ignorance play a very high prevalence. So there's a number of social structural drivers that drive women to drink. And I think part of the solution is for us to stop finding excuses for that which women do, which is not correct. And acknowledge the fact that, like you are saying, a lot of women know, but they do it anyway. Now we need to say, why do they do it? And how do we support them during pregnancy not to continue to do what they are doing? But also, the more women are exposed to children with alcohol fetal syndrome, because the other problem is that we see the children, but at no point is the connection made. so that we expose pregnant women to such children so that they can actually understand what is going to happen to them when they use alcohol.
All right.
So a lot of them don't know. We found that out. And a lot of them are just ignorant. But also we have not done the best that we can in terms of distributing the information, not only to women, but to the young girls as well.
All right.
As future mothers.
Jacoo, I see you nod when the Deputy Minister talks. And since 1997, when your organization started, you've been, dedicating your time to building the society in general. But the issue of lack of education and ignorance, why are we still sitting here and discussing these high numbers in this day and age?
I want to support the Deputy Minister and also mention that she is completely correct that we, in our sector, we believe that everybody knows because we deal with it every day. But we mustn't forget that there are still a lot of people who do not know. And what we must also remember is even if you do know that that alcohol can cause damage, what if you don't know you're pregnant? So there are many facets where we sit with women who have the best intentions not to drink during pregnancy, but they don't practice family planning. So they can become pregnant and they continue with their normal drinking behavior. And by the time that they find out that they're pregnant, there's already damage done. There's also, of course, the issue of substance dependence and substance abuse. And what we are trying to push more and more is that our pregnant women are not on their own. We as husbands, as partners, as families, we must support them in that behavior change. We must make sure it's not a lonely road that they're walking. We must make sure that we support them not only by the information, but by being there for them when they need to talk and being there for them to guide them and assist them to not drink.
Yeah, talking about the support, Jacoo, the issue of cravings when you're pregnant, you'd find a woman DM, you'll also come in there saying that, I've got this cravings, I just want a glass of wine or a can of beer. How much can a pregnant woman take, or should they just stay away from alcohol all in all?
The reality is that no research has ever been able to show a safe amount. So if we ask ourselves, can I guarantee that one small glass is safe? I have to say no. And the question is then, why would I take that risk? Is the short-term benefit of satisfying the craving, is it worth the possibility of significant damage down the road? The only safe message, the only way that we can prevent fetal alcohol spectrum disorders completely is that no alcohol, any amount, at any time during pregnancy is safe. So as soon as we start thinking about, is this amount safe, is that amount safe, the answer is no. There is no safe amount of drinking.
All right. Deputy Minister, we all know that the damage to the unborn child is permanent and it can never be reversed, but it certainly can be prevented. Talk to us about the drives that you as government, as your department have to, to convey the message to the affected women. Most importantly, because we do know that provinces such as your Western Cape and the Northern Cape have high levels of alcohol abuse. Do you go to those provinces to deliver the message as it should be?
I think it's also an assumption, Palisa, that we are making that the Western Cape and the Northern Cape are the highest. We've done a 999 campaign, 9 provinces, 9 months. All it takes is 9 seconds. From the 1st of September, we did all the 9 provinces. We took the awareness to the villages, and truth be told, I mean, the number of people who drink in our villages are beginning to be higher than the ones that drink in our cities. So the assumption that those 2 provinces are leading is also in its own not true anymore. It was horrific, it was painful. We went on a real roller coaster. But what was more painful, which I want to bring into this discussion, is the issue of children who drink under 18. The painful thing is, when alcohol adverts are done, the most important message, it's always fast-tracked, not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Nobody hears that. And we always think that The 18 is a age chronological number, you know, you are a child up to the age of 18, therefore you can get yourself married. It's not. It's scientifically proven that you are at your developmental stage. So right now, I mean, we went to Nongoma, to Putadichaba, to Bilabila. 9-year-olds were sitting in a tavern and they are drinking with elders. Then you ask them, how do you have children drinking with you? The damage that girl that drank alcohol from 9 years old, and they want to leave alcohol when they are pregnant. And like Jacoo said, a lot of part of the problem of the contributing factor to the high is that South Africa has extreme unplanned pregnancies. So women just don't plan, and women drink, and young girls are drinking. So by the time she wants to leave and stop drinking because she wants to be a mother, the damage is already done because the alcohol developed with her during her developmental age. So we're really in a situation where we need to raise the awareness, reinforce the physiological damage that alcohol causes, and actually it's economically going to be unaffordable for South Africa on our social security system if we don't do something, and do something urgently, and really plead with women to seek for help from our department, to reach out so that we can understand the underlying reasons why they drink and help them to deal with that, so that they don't sit with a severely disabled child, or like Jacoo said, a spectrum. So you're either at the entry level of the spectrum, in the middle, or at the end. And it's a very painful thing, Palisa. It hurts, and I think...
Okay. DM, apologies on that one. I have to come in there due to time constraints. But thank you so much for coming through. This, of course, is one of the topics that we should continue to talk about and make sure that the message gets to where it's supposed to. Just a quick one on you, Jacoo. What do you think should happen going forward? Just in 30 seconds.
I think that continued awareness is incredibly important, as the DM and colleagues are doing. And I think that a mind shift towards support of pregnant women and the role of the whole of society in supporting them instead of blaming, I think that is the most crucial aspect.
Thanks to my guests there. Well, you have it. That's Jacoo Louw. He's from the Foundation for Alcohol-Related Research, FARR, and we're also in conversation with the Deputy Minister for the Department of Social Development, Hendrietta Bogopane Zulu. As I said earlier, that yesterday the nation observed the National Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Day. Peter?
Thanks, Palisa.